Actually, there was one person on TikTok who actually requested like a tutorial on passing chords. So right now I am on TikTok as well as YouTube. So if you want a different format, if you just want to see a different format, you can actually go to YouTube. And my YouTube link is on my profile. All right. And yeah, I'm good. Okay. So right now we're going to actually start out. We're going to start out with the key of C. I'm just going to start out. I mean, I might, change it to B or whatever, but C is always a good place to start. Okay. And for those of you who don't know where C is, the root of it, as far as the reference point that I'm given, is actually 3rd fret on the A string right here, and 3rd fret on the A string, which is where I have my middle finger, and here is a C major chord. All right, so I'm playing this. So this is the open C. Here is like a barred C. And let me tune up real quick. And yeah, so I'm basically going to just go through just some ways that you can go from one chord to another instead of just playing only the main chords. I mean, it look good. So some people just, they play like the regular chord progression. And let's say that the chord progression is if some of y'all just want to join in, if some of y'all want to join in the chat and you all know about chord progressions, you can throw some numbers at me. But let's just say we're doing a 4 6 5 1 chord progression, something like that. Something real simple and common. And so that's just where I'm going to start. I'm actually going to give examples of several chord progressions. Yeah, that's a different language, Myers. What's going on? So yeah, I will use several chord progression examples. Okay, if that actually makes sense. All right. So if you want to give me some, you can throw some at me. All right. So anyway, we're gonna start in the key of C. All right. Here's C. It's just a reference point. We can do any chord progression. So starting here, and we're gonna go to 4. 4 is actually the F. Okay. 6, which is the A minor. 5, which is the G major, and then 1 is the C. So let's establish an actual chord progression, okay? Or if you're strumming, it might sound like this. So that's how a 4 6 5 1 chord progression sounds, okay? All right. So after a while that gets boring, doing the same chord progression, that gets boring after a while. and you want to give it a little flavor. Okay. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know what I'm about to do. I'm gonna just sort of experiment in front of you guys, and we'll just see how it turns out. Okay. Now there are all sorts of ways that you can actually walk up. You can walk up or walk down. You can kind of use fourths and fifths intervals to like some sort of like classical arrangement type walk downs. Okay. But we're more so talking about like passing chords. Okay. So this means if I'm playing a C major scale, we're going to deviate outside of that scale a little bit. Okay, so instead of just, we're going to go. So to get to this 1, 2, 3, we're going to, we'll do that instead of just, all right. So typically the first example that I'll show, typically, if you're walking up, if you're chromatically walking up, now the term or the terminology, chromatic, means that you're moving a semitone in distance. Now on a guitar, a semitone is from one fret to another fret. Literally, that's a semitone apart. And if you play one fret to another fret, that's a chromatic, like distance wise, that's chromatics. Okay. The way it sounds is like this instead of a regular scale. All right. So we got that part. Okay. And I've explained the number system a bunch of times. Okay. So I'm pretty sure you all understand that. If you don't understand that, say, hey, Kashif, I don't understand. And I'll go over it. But thinking that you all do understand it, I'm gonna kind of operate off of that or whatever, thinking that you all do understand it. So anyhow, starting with the C, typically, if you're moving up, if you're going up or ascending within a chord progression, typically you're going to use what's called a diminished chord. Okay. What a diminished chord is actually, if you're looking at like every note on just all the keys on the piano, you literally are playing every 3 notes. And that's pretty much what it is. So, but on a guitar, the way that looks is like this. Instead of on a guitar is. So the reason why when I say every 3 notes, I mean, here's this note, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. That note is here. You can also play it here. 1, 2, 3. 1. So that is like a diminished scale, like a diminished type scale or whatever. And it's literally me playing every 3 notes. Okay. That's how you find it. Every 3 notes. And if you did it on 1 string, but if you want to do it like a fast lick, okay. Now, how do you construct this like a chord? Well, in the same way that I actually located the notes, like the scale, you pretty much do the same thing, but you do it in like the format of an actual chord. Okay, so instead of playing the scale, or in this case, since we're in the key of C, I'm going to play C. Then you chromatically go up to a C sharp here. All right. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to play like either a diminished 7th chord or like a regular full diminished chord. Now, here's how I find the notes though. So here is the root, which is the C sharp. And here is Without getting too technical, it's just the next note in the scale, which is an E. So that's literally me counting 3 frets up. 1, 2, 3. But remember, I can play this note in more than one place. So on the D string, I can play it right here. Or actually, so that's right there. So if that's kind of awkward, I can go to the next note. There's another one. And that's a little more comfortable right there. Okay. So I like how that feels. There's a diminished I can play playing that way, but I like this one better. Now here's another one. Well, what about the next one? Okay, so I'm here. So this is literally how I'm finding the notes. I'm just going every 3 notes, locating them, and I'm looking on the next string to see where it is. So I'm gonna just tell you the way you play it without doing all the technical stuff. So I like this, but what is probably a little more intuitive to play is what's called a diminished 7th chord. So I'm gonna go to the diminished 7th chord. I could play that on that next on that G string. So the full shape, it actually looks somewhat like a C7 chord. So play your C major chord right here. And you're basically flattening on the 5th fret your B. In the 5th fret, your B, G, and D strings right here. But if you can, I have my index finger here, but if you can kind of have your pinky over here and then bar this over here, that would actually work. All right, but let's play a C7 though. So that's the regular C major. But on this G string, let's play the 3rd fret. So it looks like this. All right. So on the 3rd fret on the G string, we're playing the 3rd fret, like I just said. And on the 5th fret, we're on the B string. And on the 5th fret as well on the D string. So it looks like this. But since we're going up chromatically, we're just going to put our middle finger right here on the C sharp. So it sounds like this. Okay. Now, if I wanted to walk up, and I'm going to get back to the chord progression, and it'll make a little bit of sense. If I'm walking up, meaning going higher like this, and let's say I'm going from the C to the D, like, well, the chord that would glue that is going from this C, the D, diminished 7th, then the D, or the C sharp diminished 7th. So it'll sound like this. Okay. And to be quite honest with you, you could actually, between some chords, a lot of chords actually, you can play that D diminished 7th in between it, and it'll actually work. So you could play it between the C major, then the D. You can do it again. Go to the 3. Okay. Go to the 4. Do it again. And you're playing the same. I'm playing the same shape that I did up here, so I don't have to like explain it necessarily. But it's just. Let me do that again. So I literally put that same shape in between all those chords, and it actually worked. Okay, now that is, from what I understand, and some of y'all, I see some of y'all on, man, like, drop a line in the comments. Y'all like interact. Y'all just looking. Y'all know I say that sometimes. I like interaction. But anyhow, so that's like a rule of thumb is a lot of times if you're walking up, you'll play the diminished seventh chord. A lot of times. Not every time, but a lot of times. Sometimes you play a full diminished, like then, which is still a diminished chord, but a full diminished chord is more just, it's like a 3-note chord with all those intervals that I was telling you about. But a diminished seventh is actually like 4 notes. Okay. All right, so let's get to our chord progression, and then I'll actually introduce another passing chord using chromatics. And passing chords is not always going, it's not always walking up. Sometimes it's going in different patterns, but it's a different way to actually slide into a chord as well. All right. So my 4 is the F major. And my A is my A minor is the 6th. Okay. So in this chord progression, what I want to do is I want to get to this 5. But I don't want to go here. I want to make it a little more just cooler. Excuse me. Now, one thing that I can do is I can slide into all of my chords like this. I can do that, but that doesn't work all the time. And let me demonstrate again. I can play the chord and just hold the same shape. And just, that doesn't work all the time. It's not always like, wow, okay. It's okay, but, it's all right. So what I want to do, I'm going to play the bass line of it, and then we're going to just make sense of how I'm doing this. So if I do this, the full progression would be, and it will sound like this. Okay, so in that case, if I want to use this, which is that's not in the key of C, but I want to utilize that tone and kind of resolve on this 5 before I go to the 1. Well, a good chord to play in that particular scenario is actually, it looks and feels like a major chord, but it's kind of constructed a little bit different. But in this situation, let's think about a D major over F sharp. Okay, and here's how that is constructed. So play your D major. Now the D major is, it looks just like a C major, but we're going to go up a whole step. Let's go up here. Okay. But another way to play this D major is this way. So you're playing like the C shape, like the C open shape, but you're going to go up like a whole step. And this index finger is actually on this F sharp. So this is that D major over F sharp. So you're not just playing the D major chord. You're playing the full F sharp on top of it, and it sounds like this. And the way it sounds in context is. Okay. And that type of chord, that shape, is, you can put it primarily before every major chord, major and minor, chromatically. And this is if you're kind of teetering. You're not just going up. You're kind of zigzagging a little bit. So I could play it here. Okay, so that kind of chord works if you're doing that type of chord progression and you sort of want to deviate past And you're just doing that. Walk it up. You know what I'm saying? Passing chords. You're going outside of the normal chord progression. Okay. So yeah, so that's just a good way if you want to go kind of back and forth. You know, you can walk up with it, or you can go, like I said, back and forth like. And when I'm using it, I'm using the same shape. So just keep that in mind. Like right before this 6, before this A minor, I can use that same shape. I'm just in a different position. At this point, I'm playing E major over A flat right here. But it's the same exact shape. So if I'm playing C, so just keep in mind, I'm playing the same intervals as like the passing chord, the same as the diminished 7th. It's the same wherever I play it. I'm playing it the same way, as long as I'm playing it from the A string. It looks different if I'm playing it from the E string. Man, Anthony, what's up? What's up, man? I appreciate it. I mean, you here, bro. Like, I was trying to get on earlier, but when I pull my softwares up, they want to run updates, and that just took a little minute, maybe about 15 minutes more than I wanted to do it. Carter Bain, what's up, man? Thanks for dropping in. Okay, so Carter, he asked, let me ask you something. Where do you press the finger? Between the frets or as close to the fret as you can get? I tried self-teaching more than 10 years ago, but I would press center middle. Some would suggest that you do it as close, like right in front of the fret. But to be quite honest with you, the more you play, it's not, as long as it's between the fret wire, that's really what you're trying to get to. Some say, well, you got to push it up here. You got to push it up. It's going to be the same note as long as you're in between it. Now, what you don't do is press on top of it. Don't do that. Like, it's going to sound real muddy. So, yeah, that's a good question. For anyone who's wanting to learn guitar, you press between. Everything that I'm playing is between the frets. Between. Okay? And when I'm hitting a note, it's all in between. Right here. So even though this is fret wire, those lines that you see, this is the first fret, this is the second fret, third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret. And those of you who don't know, the strings are, the way I look at it and the way I teach it is, this is the first string, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It's actually 6 strings. And I'm looking down at it. And so that's the way that I talk about it. So when I say on the 3rd string or whatever, I'm talking about the 3rd string this way because I'm looking at it this way. Now you're looking at it this way, like this is the top, but I'm looking at it this way. So, if I communicate that, then we understand and we're like on the same page. And any charts that I do will look like you're looking at it this way so that you don't get confused. Okay. So, yep. In between. I feel like I'm out of tune. But yeah, that's just another example of like a passing chord. Again, what I was doing was a 4, 6, 5, 1 chord progression. Okay, you can play that a bunch of different ways. But if you want to like add a bridge, to a song, like you're writing a song and you're getting stuck as to what you want to actually add. Well, you can start doing those passing chords, and it'll lengthen the chord progression, and it'll add, like melodically, it'll add to the chord progression too. So so yeah. So that deviates from the main chord progression. All right, so that's another one. Now, let's stay in the key of C. And let's say you want to walk the opposite way. You want to actually go, you want to go up. You want to go down, not up. Okay, now when I say up, I mean you're going up this way. But what if you want to go this way? So the chords may go like this. It's like a 4, 3, 2, 1. Or let's go to the 6. This is a 6. So 6, 5, 4. Let me see. I'm kind of showing you the same thing. Some would actually argue in those situations that you would actually play what you call an augmented chord. And some people argue about that. But what I've learned is that, of course, there are different approaches, okay? A lot of times diminished chords, you're walking up. Augmented chords, you're walking down. And, that's pretty much, sort of like a rule. But go with what feels good to you and make sure it sounds good. But what is an augmented chord? An augmented chord, just like a diminished chord is every 3 notes, well, an augmented chord is every 4 notes. It's literally every 4 notes. So the way that looks is, I'm going to go from, just for the sake of being where I was. So instead of every 3 notes, okay, you're actually playing every 4 notes. So we're going to extend it. So it looks like this. So instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. So that's an augmented chord. This is diminished. This is augmented. And the way that you find the notes is the same way, like going every few frets in that same, every 4 frets for the augmented. And I'll show you a way that works. Okay. So let's say, an augmented chords work well to substitute a chord altogether as well. You don't have to, and sometimes the diminished does, sometimes. Every now and then, it depends on how crazy and creative you're trying to get with the chord. But let's say, and let's use it this way first before I actually do a walk down or walk up or whatever. But let's say I'm going from a 4 to a 3. I'll do a little soulful. There's an augmented chord right there. I put it on the 3. So or another way you can use it, walking down from the 1, if you're going from the 1 and back to the 7, like you hear in church a lot of times, like so we're gonna go back up. So here, let me explain what I just did. Here's the 7. That's actually a minor flat 5. That's an E augmented. That's a A minor seventh. And then you slide that A minor seventh down to the 5 instead of the 5 major. You actually just okay. Y'all kind of live in this TikTok thread. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I know all of you are not guitar players, but you're just joining, so I appreciate the love. That's what's up. Yeah. So back to the one. B minor flat 5. E augmented. This is an A. You can play an A minor or an A11. But in this case, we're going to play the A minor 7th. Then walk down to the 5, but the 5 is not going to be a major. It's going to still be a minor. So it looks like this. Okay. It stays minor. That's instead of it being like this. It sounds like this. Okay. So these passing chords are very effective when you're playing these chord progressions. It gives the chords a different color. And sometimes you interchange, you switch it from a major chord to a minor chord. Sometimes that's the passing chord. It's not always a diminished, augmented chord. In this case, it's not really you could say it's a passing chord, but this is literally going from the 6, and instead of going to a 5 major, it's just walking down. 1, 4. And then maybe you back to the 2, then. So that's a long way to actually resolve. So that's a way that you can look at that. Okay. Those are some of the very popular ways to actually I don't want to get too technical in what I'm showing you, but just know that you can definitely interchange major chords for minor chords in a lot of cases. But as far as the in-betweens, the in-betweeners, go for the diminished chords, the augmented chords. I typically do the diminished if I'm walking up, and the augmented if I'm going down. And if I'm going sort of in between, I can do the major structured chords over that root that I was talking about. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And trust me, this is not the first time. This is not the first time I'm talking about it. This is actually a subject that has to I had to really sit down with it to get it. But to be quite honest, sometimes you got to dive into it and you got to listen to it and get sleepy and everything. Allow yourself to get sleepy and drowsy, and it's too much information. But once you just let it in, that next time it's not going to sound as foreign. Okay. It's just, it's learning the language. It's learning the language. It really is. And then after a while, it all starts looking the same. It literally starts looking the same. It's just in a different place. Sometimes it's in a different context and everything. So yeah. I'm reading what Carter said. Sorry, man, I didn't read your comment. I was teaching hey man, I appreciate it. That goes to Carter. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm a self-taught. I'm generally a self-taught musician. I've had a few lessons with people, but and piano was my first instrument, and I used piano to teach myself guitar when I was in college. So I bought my first guitar when I was 21, and yep, I bought it when I was 21. Just sat down with it and just started to just find notes, get the piano. Okay, here's that note. Let me try to find it here, and let me find the one that sounds like the same note. That's how I did it. So, and then after a while, I figured out one chord, and I did that without charts. I just used my ear, and then just kind of went from there. And then I started doing charts and all that other stuff, and just playing with other musicians. I actually have not played with a whole lot of guitar players, even to this day. Even to this day. Nah, nope. I wasn't a music major. I was an art major. I tried to get into music school, and they said I understood it too much, and they wouldn't let me in, which was kind of stupid, if you ask me. Nope, I was not a music major. I sat down at a piano for the first time when I was 5, and I was able to kind of figure it out. You know, not fully. It's not like I was playing with 2 hands and stuff. I just could, if someone was singing, I would just play the song back and just like, I think that one of the main things about learning music and really anything is not being afraid to get it wrong. Like, pursue error, pursue getting it wrong so that you can make it right. That's really the way, man. I've gotten it wrong so many times, but not afraid to start over. And that's how you get good. So, you know how people say fail forward, that whole thing is cliche, but it really is the way that you get better. You just don't stop. Keep doing it. Think about what you did wrong the last time and just get it less wrong the next time. Yeah, so no, I wasn't a music major. I was an art major. In high school and in college, I was a graphic design and architecture major. So I have a degree in graphic design and architecture. And that's what my background. But I taught myself guitar in school as like pastime. Like, you know, you get bored. I'm like studying. I don't feel like doing this. I'm about to get this guitar and sit down with it. So, you know, I think that I actually speak quite a bit to people who feel like it's too late to learn guitar. And I clearly did not, even though I picked up piano as a child, specifically guitar, I didn't pick that up until later. So, you know, I hope that inspires, you know, people who feel like, okay, man, I'm 27, you know, I just learned. I'm like, well, either you're gonna start or you gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. Which way you gonna go? Okay, so yeah, I was 21 and I didn't stop. I mean, I probably got a little discouraged here and there, but I didn't stop. And yeah, so, and it literally started out like this. Then it moved to, then it moved to then, you know, and all the other stuff. And then all that stuff gets boring. And it's like, dog, where do I go next? Then you start doing all the, then it's like, okay, that's getting boring. Then it's like, what am I playing? So yeah, there's always like another level, and there's always like a new approach, Yo, hey, any little bit helps. You know, learning theory. You know what? I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but learning theory is one thing. Learning guitar is another thing. You know, I try to tell people like learn music if you can, but if you can't get the music, learn the instrument. You know what I'm saying? Learn the instrument. And you can actually learn the instrument without learning theory. I'm not like a theory person. I got into the theory later, personally. Um, yeah, I'm going for what sounds good, the approach that I chose was to learn the instrument first. I'm sitting with the piano. I play one note, play the one note, and try to find the same note on this neck. That's how I started. Okay, find another note or choose the next note, whatever, and just try to find it on the neck. Like it ain't got to be deep. You know what I'm saying? Just try to find it, and then once you get a good sense of where the notes are, and you can play a decent major scale. After you can play the major scale, like people neglect that. After you can play once you know how to play that, that's the gateway to every single thing. And I'm not gonna get into all the other things, but maybe, excuse me, maybe the next live I'll go into modes and how people kind of overcomplicate modes. But yeah, if you know the major scale, knowing the major scale is really, that. If you know the major scale, the minor scale is in the major scale. If you know the major scale, all the modes are inside of the major scale. So that's the one thing that you got to know. Yeah, man. Yeah, but yeah, 54 is not too old to play guitar. It's just like don't make it like take it like acknowledge the steps. Acknowledge the milestones and the steps. And yeah, just don't stop. But it is important to, like, one of the reasons I teach songs so much, and a lot of other guitar teachers teach songs, is because you want to feel a sense of accomplishment, and you want to have something that you can say that you could play. A lot of times when we're throwing this terminology out at you, that can get a little overwhelming. So, you just want to teach something so that you can say, wow, yeah, like I played that chord. But I would say get good with one chord and just go off at that one chord. Like, you could literally write a song with all minor chords. And I'll do it for you right now. Let me see. Yeah, yep. I agree, Carter. Yep. But let's just say you only know one chord. So this is for you who all you know is one chord and you don't know where to go. It's just like, what do I do next? All right. We're going to start at this C. Let's not worry about no scales, but let's just say that all we know is this chord right here, which is a C minor 7. Okay. Let's not worry about melody right now. Let's just experiment on the neck. Okay. I'm going to be random, but sometimes you have to be random to kind of iron out the kinks later. Just see how it sounds. And that's a part of being creatively, I guess, courageous. Just try something, throw it out to see what happens. So here's the C minor 7th. The way you play it is index finger is barred on this 3rd fret right here. my middle finger, 4th fret, B string, ring finger, 5th fret on the D string, which is the 4th string up. Okay, the B string is the 2nd string up, and that's it. All right, and now let's go like a whole step up, meaning we're gonna skip 1 fret. And for now, let's just go back and forth between those 2 frets. Now, to be honest with you, that could be a song, but that will get boring quite quickly. So let's say you're a beginner and you're strumming. That's all you got. It's like, I don't know where else to go. Well, just keep the same shape. I'm not saying it's gonna sound good. That's another thing. You're like, it don't sound good. Well, whatever. See, like being creative is about trying something and seeing what's gonna happen. And if you don't like it, just don't do it no more. It don't matter. No one cares, first of all. Don't nobody care. Now we care, and we care what we do, and it's like, I don't want to mess up. So what? I've messed up so many times, and I've gone through that in my mind so many times. I kind of got over myself. So that's the place where I'm at. So, but let's do it again. Let's go half step up. Back to the first one. Now, I bet you somebody wrote a song doing that same thing. Even though it's kind of like a little off kilter, you know. But if you do something to make it work, it can actually work. With a little better technique. You know what I'm saying? And you can be random with it. And you know, it depends on what you want to do. Now, I would just take it. So that's the approach that I would take when I first got a guitar. I would just play the same shape everywhere. Just I'll record it, put a little beat with it, and then listen back at it. Like, I don't like that. And then I'll just go do something else. But if you know that major scale, though, you know, like there's so much locked into those 7 notes. It's wild. It's so much locked into those 7 notes. So don't neglect that. It's called noodling. Daryl Melson, what's up, man? Yeah. Like don't be afraid to just try something. Carrie, what up, man? What's up, man? Carrie probably the only one that actually commented on the whole thread. But yes, everything that you need to know is inside of the major scale. So the other stuff that I was showing you, like the passing chords and stuff, I mean, that's important, but just know you don't have to be locked into. You can and remember to walk up. You can do a lot of diminished 7th chord stuff chromatically, in the chromatic sense, okay? But if you're walking down, you can do like the augmented stuff. But that's the walking down stuff. Some other what do you want to call it? Some other little tips along with walking up, walking down, however you want to do it, is now this takes a little bit of slide work. Definitely slide into the chords, but slide out of them too and slide back in. Okay. So that's like another thing. Thank you so much. Deuterino. I love the name. Thanks for the comment on the tone. So when you're playing like a major seventh chord, and there are all sorts of ways to snap out of it and snap back into it. So you can slide into it, but you can slide out of it too. And if you do it tastefully, it'll sound really good. Okay. So you can slide into it, but guess what? You can do that as well. So if you can land on your chords well, you can actually do quite a bit. Okay. So my pick getting sticky. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, Carrie was the only one that actually commented on TikTok, man. The only one. Let me see if somebody else commented. I appreciate you, Carrie. Yeah, everybody else just kind of peeped in and peeped out, and that's cool too. Oh, Metallica. Whoever's name is Metallica, he said, "Can you join the live and play?" Not this time, but I will be doing future lives. If you just, and I'll actually announce. I'll do a better job at announcing them, so that we can get better acquainted and stuff like that. And I'll definitely open some of the lives up to, for that reason. Just wanted to kind of stay on topic. I live in Georgia. That was for Andy. In the Atlanta area. Not in Atlanta, but in the area though. So yeah. Nice. You live in Columbus. That's what's up. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, yes. So, yeah, Deuterino. Playing modes over chords. I'm definitely going to talk about that later, but I would like to introduce that subject. Max, how are you? Nice to meet you, man. I would like to introduce that subject. So, for those of you who don't know, modes is like this word that people get real scared of, and I don't know why. The word is mode. It's mode. That's all. Anyway, you got now the words sound real like Greek and fancy, but that's just what they are, Now, I don't use modal terms. I use the number system mostly. But, you got the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. You got all those, and all of those are really assigned to each number. Okay, Ionian is the 1. Dorian is the 2. Okay, so let's keep it at the Dorian, so I'm not like throwing a bunch of words at you. Now, to introduce it, I'm just going to introduce it. Ionian is the 1. That's the major chord. Okay, basically the major scale, rather. So that is Ionian mode. That's the Ionian mode. All right. And I remind us all the time. Yes. I'm about to get into it. Well, you already. Well, I can't say that you know it because I just met you. I don't know what you know. So the number system is just assigning a number to each note in a scale, and you're just counting to 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're back to 1. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. So that's it. And see, the thing is, you can go past it and you can play it again and get, real fancy, I guess you can say. Now, if you're playing jazz, it goes past the 7. It goes, 8 through 13 or 14, whatever it is. And that's where you get extended chords. All right. But right now, let's keep it to just 1 through 7. And you got 7 notes, A through G. We know our alphabets. Okay. We know our alphabets. You good? Yeah, A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right. So it's just those notes may be in different orders, pretty much, and everything. But here's the thing. So this Ionian mode, we can think about it like that. And right now I'm talking about deuterino. I want to keep it on these words because I know a little bit who I'm speaking to. And yes, that is correct. That is correct. And we just want to keep it to the root, because sometimes when I'm throwing around terminology, it's like, we got to memorize another word. But yes, that is correct though. Okay. So, but yeah, the Ionian mode is just a major scale. That's really what it is. It's the root diatonic scale. And that's pretty much it. All right, let's do that one more time. TikTok is wanting to verify that I'm a real person. So, yeah, major scale. But guess what? Dorian starts at the 2. So the Ionian starts at the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it ends on the 1. Dorian starts on the 2 and ends on the 2. That's it. Those are the modes. And you can start on the 3 and end on the 3. Now it's interesting how these scales sound different, but they're the same notes. I'm playing them starting at one place and kind of ending at the same place in a sense. Okay? But they're all different colors. This is one of the reasons I love music, because you're using literally the same 7 notes and you're putting them together like millions of different ways. So the way that you construct a major chord is from a major scale. And a major chord is constructed using the 1, the 3, the I'm up here counting like y'all getting that. Anyway, the 1, the 3, and the 5. That constructs a major chord. So there's the 1, 1, 2, 3. There's the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 5. 1, 3, 5. If you can find those notes anywhere on this neck, that's a C major chord. Here's the C major chord. So all of these notes are probably repeated maybe once, but it's only these notes. So 1, 3, 5. That's what constructs a major chord. Also, the next scale, which is do the chord functions. Do the chord functions still apply for modes? Yes. Depending on how you word it, yes, they do. Is 5 still the dominant function? No, I'm here for the questions. When you say dominant, what do you mean? Because the 5 can just be a major chord. You know what I'm saying? Like some people play like a 5 dominant 7, because that's like a very convenient way to play a dominant chord because of where the notes fall. So I mean, I don't know if that answers your question. That's a convenient way to play a dominant chord is on the 5. So sorry about that. Now, again, I'm just introducing this to those of you who, I mean, maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But let's go to the Dorian. Here's the Dorian. Well, this chord is, this scale, it's a Dorian scale, but it's sort of minor in nature, okay? And this is pretty much, oh yeah, no problem, to Deuterino. That scale that I just played it's the C major scale, but I'm starting at the 2 and ending at the 2. So the same, instead, I'm just playing it in a different place. Now, to construct a chord, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the 1, the 3, and the 5. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Here's the 3, because that's just how I'm counting on the scale. That note is here. That note is also here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 5. Those 3 notes construct a minor chord, and that's why it's the 2. So all those notes that I'm playing right here is in that scale. And I'll prove it to you. Here's the octave of the first note. Same note, it's just higher. Here's the 3. Same note, it's just higher. So I'm not going to play it here. Here is the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we play it here. If I play them at the same time, they're right there. So a chord is notes played at one time. A scale is like melody, notes played in a sequence. Okay, so it's mathematics. It's tonal mathematics. And I'm not going to go past that. I'm going to just kind of, I'm going to stay there, and I'll continue the conversation later. I know some of y'all are wide awake, but I'll keep going for just a few, and then I'll head out. But yeah, that's the gist of it. If you know that major scale, you can. If you know that major scale, you can pull anything from that major scale. Okay, you can pull any interval from the major scale. You can switch it up, you know, as long as you know that fundamental, you have the fundamental and understanding of what the major scale intervals are, pretty much. Okay. You can say yes. Yep. You can definitely say it like that. If you were to play the same thing in the root position, and this might go over some people's heads, but I can play that same mode over the C if I just want to get fancy, you know? So, or I can, it'll give it a different color. Does that make sense? I can play any mode over that root. I can, in fact, that's like a part of my practice. So, what's the 3? Yeah, so I can play every mode over that one thing. I just did 4 modes just then. So, yep, that is true. I'm just seeing if I missed any. Like the star. Yeah, that's like, it really it's very cool, because you know, if you juice it up a little bit, it actually, I mean, it's very fun for one, especially if you put on like distortion and stuff. Let me see. Here's the major, and I'm gonna go out of order. I'm gonna go out of order for a minute. Phrygian, and C is the 3rd degree. Phrygian is yes, yep. So Phrygian is and yeah, and then Lydian is 4 if I'm thinking about it right. But Phrygian, that's the 3rd, so that looks like so here's the root. Here's Phrygian. So if a person wanted to like really flavor it up, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of like goes out and in. If you want to bring that 2 back in, let's do the Phrygian, Dorian, Ionian. Yeah. Yep. Play like a stone. What does that mean? Oh boy. Yeah. It is cool. When it's clean, it's cool. I feel like my fingers kind of sticky right now. But yeah, but everybody that came through, man, I am thankful that you all just stopped through. Now, somebody asked, can I play Spain? Spain by who? How do I know when to accentuate certain notes? Well, I mean, how do I do it? I don't know. Like, think about it like this. Well, here's one way to look at it, at least. One way to look at it. The next live is going to be Saturday evening, but I'm about to answer your question now. Cause I've been doing around about 3 lives a week on average, let's say, and then I'm noticing that the most views I get are on certain days. So Saturday evening seems like that's when I'm doing it. Monday, no. Tuesday and then Thursday. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. No, that's a good question. But think about it like this though. Think about it like this. and I'm going back to the the C major, okay? Now that sounded pretty plain. Now it starts to get interesting when you mix the order of notes. All right, now that's, it starts to get interesting when you mix the notes. But when you start accenting, that's a little different. So think of me as a speaker, and I'm speaking to you and I'm saying, Deuterino, how are you? Versus Deuterino, how are you? So think of it like, does that line ask a question? And I'm not saying literally. I'm not saying literally asking a question. Is it making a statement? There's a difference between making a statement versus asking a question. So the sentence that I just said is, there's a difference in making a statement versus asking a question. Or when I say, hey man, how are you doing? Like, how are you? Like my inflection, my accents, and my vocal accents and inflection is different. So if I were to use repetition, in playing this, and I use vibrato every now and then, maybe I want to bend up to the one. So I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And mess around and put distortion on. I don't know if you can hear that. Same thing. Pinch harmonics. So there's a difference between playing versus so yeah. So yeah, man. So whether you're playing that or the the soulful, yes. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm still wide awake, so I could go forever to be honest with you. But I'm gonna go ahead and just head out. So for those of you, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for engaging. Thank you. For those of you who want to fill out my questionnaire, if you go to YouTube, go to my account on YouTube and actually fill out the question. It's like 5 questions. Just if you're interested in learning guitar, I just kind of want to get a sense of what you're looking for. So I want to answer particular questions in course form. And, you know, if you fill out the questionnaire, I can get a better idea of what it is you want to learn, and I can drop it in my community. Okay, I can record the video, drop it in my community, and if you join, you can pretty much see what that is. All right. Adjust all of what exactly? No, not because you didn't already opened it. Oh, well, the questionnaire is if you go on my YouTube page, yeah, go on like the homepage of my YouTube page, because I thought I put it in the description, and I didn't drop it in the comments. But yeah, you can go to my YouTube page and just go up there by the subscriber account, and you see all the links up there. Hit the more button and you'll see a bunch of links up there, and it says like questionnaire or something like that. It's like a free mini course and, you know, some other stuff. Metallica, I'll do that another time. I appreciate you asking though. I appreciate you asking. Yeah, I appreciate you asking. But yeah. Okay, you said if I introduce, do the notes change when you introduce? Yes. Yeah, they do. If the chord structure is different, the notes do change. And now there are some scenarios. It's wild. This is why music is so cool. But there are some scenarios where the chord progression is doing what it does, but you can keep the melody the same, or you don't have to deviate or whatever. So let me see if I got an example. So here's an example. Here's a perfect example. Because sometimes a dominant is played over the 3. Okay, not just the 5. So let's say this is the same chord progression that I was doing before. Here it is. So what if the melody was like, it changes it. But if you play a note, a riff, or a melody like this, so you can. Still play this then. You can do that without changing it over that progression. But if you're playing one of those high notes, that kind of does. So it depends on what you're playing. So this. It depends on what it is. If it's that high note, that note would change. It would go. it depends on which note it is. But if it's that plucking, that would stay the same. But the melody note would change, you know. So yeah. Thank you. Who is this? I appreciate that. Michael Quint. I'm trying to, like, it's so, the phone is kind of far away from me. Jazzy, yeah. I try to be a little jazzy. But yeah, it's so much you can do. Sure did. I did get into the well, no. I didn't do half diminish seventh. I did diminish seventh. The half diminish chords, I did like a substitution, you know. But that typically falls on the 7, which I think I mentioned it, but it's a half diminish. Little scales with it. Or fully diminished chord where if you flat almost not quite. Some of that is kind of true. I started playing when I was 21, so I'm 43 now, so that long. What is that, 22 years? Yeah. Yep. Been playing since. I'm a contracted musician. I am a contracted musician. I wasn't a music major, but I'm a contracted musician at my church. So, yep. Appreciate it, y'all. Let me see. Yeah, this is to Larry. Yeah, that's a whammy. I try not to overuse it. You know, there are situations where you don't have to use the whammy. I mean, I can do the same thing here, and I grab this whammy. I could also bend the other way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yep. You do it with distortion. Or Yep. So yeah, y'all, if all hearts and minds are clear, know that God loves you. And I'll be back Saturday. And I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all spending time. And you know what I'm saying? We're gonna learn some guitar. If some of y'all are feeling like it's too late, it's not too late. Some of y'all done worked for 20 years and you trying to get into something new. You trying to get into something new and you ain't got no hobby. And you need one. Like learning guitar is perfect for that. Okay. The distortion I'm using, I got a couple of distortions. This is not on my pedal board, but here is one of them. This is, what is this by? Oh, Maxine distortion. This is a RTD 800. Okay, that's one of them. And that's actually a tube guitar pedal. And oh yeah, man, I appreciate it. But the distortion pedal that I'm using is a Rev G4. It's a Rev G4. I usually take one of my cameras and just kind of point it down, but I guess I'll do it another time. Yeah, man. Boss GT660. Yeah. I got some more stuff. I'm gonna talk about my pedals. I'm gonna talk about my pedals like at a later time. I've been on here for like an hour and a half, which is fine. That's cool. But I use a line. I got a HX Stomp, but I use the HX Stomp for like delays and reverbs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. Thank you. And to those of you who went crazy on that Tony upload that I put, the do I even know how to play it? Here it is. Anyway, y'all went crazy on that post. Thank you so much. Y'all went crazy on that post. It's like 200 something thousand views and likes, and man, thank y'all. Thank you. So yeah, those of you who followed me, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hey, I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. So, you know, I'll be doing more lives. I will open my private community up at some point soon. It will be for subscription. So, you know, at that point, I will still share a lot of free stuff, you know, but just know, it's going to be more stuff in the community. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. But, you know, I'm here to show whoever. All right. So I love y'all. I thank you. Feel free to reach out. You can email me. You can reach out via DM on IG. It's Kashif Music. On my Instagram. YouTube is The Guitar Players Club by Kashif Music. You can search both Kashif Music and still get The Guitar Players Club. It's still gonna come up. But yeah, I want to do a lot more talks about like guitar effects and all that stuff. So y'all be good. Be a blessing to somebody. Like I said, God loves you. I love you. I genuinely mean that. And I'll see you again. I appreciate the comments. Thank you for hanging out. And if you have questions, like write down your questions so that you don't forget them. So that when you see me again, you could just ask me. All right. Peace.